I was in my early 30s when a full hysterectomy threw me into menopause. Leaving the hospital with a leaflet and a box of estrogen, only HRT, I was merely told my recovery time and that I'd be on HRT for probably the next 20 years. With very little information or education, I had no idea what was to come. I had suffered 2 decades of endometriosis and adenomyosis, trauma from 19 surgeries, and at no point did anyone sit me down and explain 1. What menopause would really feel like, 2. The proper aftercare I should experience, 3. How I should be supported going forward being so young, and 4. Offer any mental support and how this might have affected me. Crazy, right? As my body healed from surgery, the symptoms of menopause started. I would experience the usual flashes, night sweats, and it started to affect my sleep. My body shape was starting to change, and I would feel fatigued easily. Exercise slowed down as I tried to save energy to run around after the children go to work. Then something happened that I really wasn't expecting. I felt like the plates I would usually juggle was starting to fall. I would forget things, the kids' club timings, things my husband had told me, conversations I'd had about projects at work. I just couldn't get to things. It was like my inbox was full. I became so irritable, angry, and explosive at times, hiding my anxiety and feeling of not belonging, and all whilst not having a clue why I felt like I did. I honestly felt like I was losing my mind. With relationships starting to crumble, I felt I wasn't any good at my job, a good mom, wife, or person. I was lost. Driving the kids to school one day, I remember not being able to hear the music. I was numb to their usual squabbling, and as the sun shone in my eyes, I remembered thinking I just couldn't be bothered to squint, pull down the visor, or press the brake. In that moment, I wanted to die. I was off work for 6 months after that day, and with a phased return, it took me almost a year to get back into the swing of things. In that time, I learned that diminishing hormone levels, not the right dose of HRT, and no support around my surgery was a huge part of what had happened. It took me to get that low, over 20 therapy sessions, for my family to nearly break, and for me to temporarily leave work for that to even come up. With awareness came improvements, and mentally I grew stronger. For a while, all seemed better, but despite getting back to work, something still wasn't right physically. That was a few years ago, and just 5 months ago, I finally got to speak to an NHS menopause doctor through a new clinic at my GP surgery. Elated, we spoke. I felt listened to, and she wanted to know my history. Her diagnosis after blood tests was that my estrogen levels were dangerously low, and it seemed I wasn't absorbing the estrogen through tablet, gel, patch. I had tried all over the years. She informed me that I would need an estrogen implant. I was then referred back to the GP to set the wheels in motion. Hurrah! I was also put on progesterone, in which the menopause doctor was shocked I had not been put on this from day one due to the risk of endometriosis returning. With only ever having one set of blood work done before and no knowledge, checks of low levels, she said, "You've really suffered medical negligence here." That struck me hard. What came next was a text message, like some sort of bad breakup, to inform that I couldn't have the implant. Geographically, it wasn't an offer to me. That was it. So where did that leave me? By this point, I was a mess, with physical symptoms through the roof, including aching joints, severe fatigue, brain fog, and heart palpitations. I couldn't believe what I was reading. My options? Go on a NHS wait list for a hospital 2 hours away, or go up the road to a private clinic and pay £500. Feeling like I was really struggling, and now mentally some demons were starting to rise again, I opted for private. I had the most amazing consultation and paid for the HRT implant to be ordered in. That was 5 weeks ago. I'm still waiting for the HRT implant to come. Meanwhile, still waiting any news from the NHS side. I'm left physically and mentally at rock bottom. I'm struggling to function and right now have had to again take some time off work in order to sustain energy to function and look after the children. This is not living. Not only do I have the concern of when I will get this implant, I also question what happens when it needs replacing every 6 months. Will I even get it? What about support and care? It petrifies me. I do not fit the usual box on menopause. People like me are often not seen or heard much in the world of media. We're not recognized on medical forms or menopause checklists, HRT checks at GP surgeries, often having to be the one educating the professionals rather than the other way around as to why we are menopausal at such a young age. For me, it isn't a natural stage or transition. It is medical, a hormone deficiency that needs proper care, knowledge, support, and medication. Imagine what the worst case scenario here is, and then imagine the best. Which one should any human feel?